these machines have been around for a while. They've been providing transportation, entertainment, and a lot of other things. Am I talking about like trains or cars? No. What about airplanes? Not that either. These things are even more complicated and challenging. They're called bikes. They're, well, bikes are fun to keep children occupied and not bored. They are meant to be ridden, and they also provide challenging things for adults too, like riding through mountains or even doing interesting tricks on them, which will come later. And then I'll be talking to you about what they have made of or what they have been made of, the types of terrain or scenery that they ride on, and how to take care of them. And the first bike, it was made in 1865, I want to say, and it was made completely out of wood. The tires, the frame, all the things that put it together, it was made completely out of wood, and this is what it was. And they didn't have any gears to ride on, so they walked it around. Like, they basically put wheels and walked themselves around just to make it look cool. And then, go ahead. The bikes have been made out of steel, go ahead. And when they're made out of steel, it's meant for more durable rides, like going through mountains and stuff like that. And it's a lot heavier, so you can't go as fast, but it's a lot more durable. And then there's aluminum bikes. And they are made for light, purpose of being light and doing tricks, like for sports. A lot of people who do sports and ride on ramps, they use light aluminum because they are able to do tricks and go at high speeds. And then now that we're done talking about that, I'm going to talk to you about the types of terrain that they ride on. And this is like mountain. And they, when they do that, they have mountain bikes and they have gears to switch the speed, but they're also made out of steel. And they're meant for more durable rides. And then, do it again. Then there's these roadway bikes, and they use like these thin tires, like they're about that long, that thin, and they have a little tread because they ride on the roadways. And that's for like the more tread you have, the heavier the bike is, and the not as long distance, and it takes a lot more to pedal it. So that's just for the not being able to exhaust yourself. And then there's bikes like these, which are for talented bike riders, and they use the aluminum metal, and they are crazy. Have you seen people ride bikes like for competition? They do all these different tricks, like they'll be flipping in the air, and they could possibly even land on their head in some of these cases. And yeah, that's just about all I know about that. And then there's chains that you pedal, you know, the links in there. Those you have to take care of. And there's, if you ever damage it, there's a special link that you have to actually go through and find it, because if you don't find it, then you have to take a pair of like metal cutters and cut the chain off to replace it. But the chain, you have to keep it oiled, and if it's not oiled, then it's gets all kinked up and rusted. So that is not good. And then the tires, which are important too, like when you're changing them, you have it's a pain in the keister. I mean, to get the tires off and on, you have to like it takes a lot of force to pull them off. If you know what I mean, it's like it's time consuming. It takes like 2 hours. It's really hard. But you want to make sure that you have the right amount of air pressure, because if you don't, you could go up a curb or hit a rock and it'll bend the rim, which costs. Those are a lot more. It costs a lot more to replace those than it does inner tubes. And basically that's all I'm talking about is cost efficiency. You can go ahead. And then there's weather. Do you guys know how important it is to keep your... Alright, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. But do you guys know how important it is to keep your bike out of like weather? When it rains, that's what rusts your bearings and your tires and your handlebars and your chain. So you want to keep that indoors, and even outside during the winter. The water from that can also rust it, but that can change the pressure of the air pressure in the tires. So when you go to ride it next after the spring, you could either damage the rim or possibly have to replace the tire. And what I wanted to get out was the bikes are fun and more information about how to take care of them and stuff. And I went over what they're made of, what types of terrain they ride on, and how to take care of them. And that's all. Thanks for listening.